This is literally the end of the republic as we know it. If we don't stand up to Donald Trump in his decision to essentially break down the government according to what he wants and according to what he believes is in the best interests of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the country. We need
Governor J.B. Pritzker on CNN yesterday, from a X post he shared, talking about the warnings he's putting out concerning Donald Trump. Again, somebody who is duly elected with the majority of voters across the country and also with the Electoral College. But clearly the conflict, just a little over a month of Trump being in office, continues to grow between the likes of Governor J.B. Pritzker here in Illinois and other Democrat governors from across the country. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, waking you up each and every weekday morning here for the live show. Be sure to check that out. Join the live chat at the Center Square on YouTube, but you can get the podcast where you get podcasts. So let's talk what's up in Washington. If you go to the Center Square, you can find all kinds of stories, not just what's going on in Illinois. I want to be sure that people know this. The Center Square is also in Washington, D.C. and states across the country. But let's look at this headline from yesterday, what's up in Washington. You've got Congress, at least the U.S. House, passing a $4.5 trillion budget resolution. And this, obviously, is pretty pricey. You had one Republican not vote for it, and that was Thomas Massey. It's kind of more of an independent libertarian Republican. But let's read this story here from Teresa Bordeaux from the Center Square. President Donald Trump's tax cuts, border, defense, and energy promises are one step closer to enactment after the U.S. House narrowly passed its $4.5 trillion budget resolution Tuesday night, officially kickstarting the budget reconciliation process. Now, this followed Speaker Mike Johnson convincing Republican holdouts to commit a brief cancellation of the votes and then to abruptly recall all House members. And the resolution passed 217 to 215, now heads to the Senate. What's in this thing? All right, it's got a high price tag, steep spending cuts. Some Republicans worried about that. Centrists opposed the possible slashing of Medicaid, and fiscal hardliners revolted against the estimated tens of trillions of dollars that the budget resolution could add to the federal deficit over the next 10 years. Now, besides extending the 2017 Trump tax cuts for at least 10 years at a cost of $4.5 trillion, the resolution authorizes $300 billion increase in defense and border spending to be split amongst the Armed Services, Homeland Security, and Judiciary Committee. Now, the budget, also the price tag proposal includes instructing the Ways and Means Committee to raise the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. You've got a lot of debate around that. But some other things that were all part of this obviously are going to be coming out more and more, including, the Trump tax cuts, no tax on tips. Is that in there? Also, a whole host of other policy proposals that Trump campaigned on. So clearly, what's up in Washington, making a big splash there. But something else, too, that is happening in Washington, the Department of Government Efficiency and the continued conflict with the courts and with them finding cuts, and even President Trump looking to withhold federal funds from certain areas, and that includes Illinois. Here is Governor Pritzker from Illinois on X, posting a letter demanding answers, he says, alongside members of the Illinois Federal Congregation from the Trump administration for ignoring court orders to release almost $1.88 billion in federal funding for Illinois. If they can't hold their end of the deal, Illinoisans deserve to know. And if you go through, you can read some of this letter. And it just simply says and spells out a variety of different areas where the federal government is apparently freezing funds for Illinois. If you go through, you can identify, the 1.8 plus billion. You were talking programs for a variety of different services. So Pritzker clearly not happy about that. He went on CNN to reiterate some of what he had to say last week at the budget address that he provided to the Illinois General Assembly. Here is Governor Pritzker from CNN.
We're talking about the death of a constitutional republic. That's what happened in Germany in 1933, 1934. And we're seeing today that you've got an administration in Washington that's ignoring court orders, literally ignoring when a judge says you can't do this. They're going ahead and doing it anyway. The question is, where does that stop? The courts don't have the ability to enforce their orders, and the president is supposed to obey them, but is not. So this is just one piece of a very long story that's developed over the last 6 weeks of the ignorance of constitutional norms and indeed disobeying the Constitution, announcing that we're going to do away with birthright citizenship. That's been established. Well, it's in the Constitution, for goodness sakes. So I really think people need to wake up to what's happening in Washington.
So, again, you've got Pritzker saying that Trump is possibly going to bring about the death of the constitutional republic. He went on to talk about what's next if people don't stand up.
The question is, will people wake up? Will people show up to protest, to make sure that their representatives understand that they can't go along with this? This is literally the end of the republic as we know it. If we don't stand up to Donald Trump in his, decision to essentially break down the government according to what he wants and according to what he believes is in the best interests of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the country. We need people to get out there and have their views known. And that's really what I was talking about when I spoke up at my State of the State speech.
So again, the governor essentially encouraging people to take to the streets. Is that what I'm hearing? That's how I'm interpreting that. But back to the letter that the governor sent to the Trump administration. This is from a news release. Today, the governor, Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth, various members of the Illinois congressional delegation issued a joint letter to the White House. The letter demands action and accountability from the Office of Management and Budget on the approximately $1.88 billion in funding that's being withheld from taxpayers despite numerous court orders. Now, the letter, he says, provides an update that as of mid-February, most agencies and organizations in Illinois have reported an inability to access funds, with some in danger of needing to pause operations, cancel projects, or lay off staff. Impacted grant programs and organizations include 9 state agencies, boards, and commissions for $692 million, 10 state agency boards and commissions for a total of $1.19 billion in federal funds, 14 state agencies, boards, and commissions have a total of $1.88 billion in impacted federal funds, including the Illinois Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Community College Board, Emergency Management Agency, Environmental Protection Agency, the Finance Authority, the Department of Human Rights, Department of Natural Resources, Illinois Power Agency, Illinois Department of Transportation, Illinois State Board of Education, which we will touch on in a separate segment. They are asking for more money and also saying they're not going to comply with Governor Pritzker's with President Donald Trump's DEI executive orders, but also other state agencies, Commerce Commission, Department of Labor, and Department of Health Care and Family Services. So there you go. That's a little bit more detail on all of the different agencies in Illinois that Pritzker says were being impacted by President Donald Trump in his actions to withhold federal funds or to find deficiencies, right? I mean, because it's not just about trying to, have, the president's executive orders be complied by states, but also to find waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, the White House has been getting question after question after question about the Department of Government Efficiency, who the administrator is, Elon Musk, what's his role. Is he really getting things done with the team he's brought in to Doge? The White House press secretary talking yesterday about how confident President Trump is in Elon Musk.
President sent out a truth last weekend to Elon Musk saying he loves everything Elon is doing and he wants him to be even more aggressive because Doge thus far has proven incredibly successful in making our government more efficient. And so Elon and Doge came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it.
Just have people tell us what they're doing. 5 bullet points. What did you do this past week? I work in the private sector for nonprofits, and our evaluations, they essentially are just like that. List the 5 top things that you feel you rocked. List the 5 top things you think you can improve upon. That's self-evaluation, right? So it's interesting to see just how people are really pushing back against that idea. But regardless, that's what's up in Washington. So we'll continue to cover how what's going on in Washington, D.C. is impacting a state like Illinois. And we'll do it with you each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get the podcast where you get podcasts. If you're not already signed up for the newsletter, go get that newsletter at thecentersquare.com.